In September of 2018, a user on Twitter, going by the name Aquila, exposed what was undoubtedly the worst story to ever hit the furry fandom, or even fandom as a whole. This person deleted shortly after creating the post, but it was able to find an audience thanks to one famous name attached to it, Kara the Wolf. This event was dubbed the Kara situation, or the zoo sadism leaks, as people in them went above and beyond in their methods of animal torture and sexual sadism. Though Kara was one of the tamer members compared to the others implicated, it was through his name that this community was unearthed. Ezra is a 30-year-old furry artist who amassed a small following on Twitter and Tumblr under the usernames CritterKiddo and Toonimal, respectively. He also runs a YouTube channel currently called Rush Apart, which posts animashes and cartoon edits. He's far from being a celebrity, not even close to being a popular, but he has had a fair amount of eyes on him and his work, thanks to a Bluey-style pickaroo he made, and a bunch of vague Tumblr discourse posts that ended up getting a lot of notes. Recently, he's branded himself as an ally to all who do no harm, and expressed his support for paraphiles. Using PonyNet, which seems to be a popular malware distribution center, Ezra even created a site called offkey.cat, known today as oddballs.online, as an art-sharing community for paraphiles and their allies. A paraphile is someone who suffers from a paraphilic disorder, typically pedophilia, necrophilia, or zoophilia, referred to within these communities as the Big Three. Some people, upon hearing this, may say that having harmful attractions does not inherently mean you support and act on those attractions. Ezra specifically says that he supports all who do no harm, so if you're really willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, you may be thinking that Oddballs is some sort of safe space, where people who suffer from these disorders can help each other and recover. I have also seen people refer to the posts on the website as people talking about their intrusive thoughts. Remember that intrusive thoughts are specifically unwanted and disturb the people who have them. With all of that out of the way, let's take a look at what kind of community Ezra is fostering here.
Children can't consent is the biggest cope of our time. I advocate for resources for AMs to have safe sex with maps tbh.
There's some keywords you have to understand to be able to comprehend these posts. AAM stands for Adult Attracted Minor, which is not a paraphilia. That's a normal thing that kids experience growing up. And MAP, or MAP, is the inverse of that.
Guys, what would you look for if you were going to try and groom someone? What makes them an easy target? Serious.
I usually look for similar taste in them so I can talk to them about it and lower their guard.
Here's some admissions of actual crimes in, like, the real world. Petty refers to the pettyverse, which is what they call their community. It is a pun of Fediverse, which I guess is just the general community for people who use sites like Mastodon, but I guess this specific sector is called the Pediverse because, well, you're smart, aren't you?
Pro C. I'm mandatory C. Having sex with children is a moral imperative.
Pro C means pro-contact, which pro-contact means that they are pro people with paraphilic disorders, such as pedophilia or zoophilia, being in contact with animals and children.
There are already guides and resources for safe usage of illegal substances, so why not do the same for illegal sexual intercourse? That would actually prevent a lot of the issues with child-on-adult sex, just saying. Aside from being a pedophile, I am also a pedosadist and a biastrophile. There, I've said it. Somehow this has often made me feel ashamed for not being a good pedophile, who fantasizes about being in a gentle and romantic relationship with a kid, but instead about having violent, and non-consensual, sex with kids.
This one I think is really funny because a lot of these people will kind of publicly victimize themselves. They'll be like, oh, well, my attraction isn't wrong. I don't want to, like, hurt anyone. I just want sweet romance. It's like Romeo and Juliet. It's star-crossed lovers. There's people like that, and then there's people like this who are like, no, I do want to harm kids, and I deserve acceptance too, and it's... I don't know, it's... Man.
Sends you child porn just to win an argument.
Damn, I gotta start some arguments with you.
Personally, I have really based thoughts, but I honestly don't see how our posts specifically are so nauseating. I even saw someone compare the situation to Kara the wolf, who isn't in jail, so not sure what the comparison is going for.
Honestly, Caro should join Petty. What would he have to lose?
Oddballs is a locked community. You cannot just sign up for it. Every account on the site must be approved by one of the moderators beforehand. Ezra, as the creator of the website, appointed every mod personally. This is only a small snippet of the posts leaked from the site. A real friend to all who do no harm, indeed. Ezra himself is not just a guy who makes connections and spaces for these people. He has dissociative identity disorder, and on accounts that he's made for his altars, he's posted about his interest in bestiality and identity as a zoophile. He also identifies as a ficto-yap, with yap, or YAP, meaning youth-attracted person. He drew the Bluey family with their bits. There's not much else I can say there. So, what? We just found yet another predator in the furry fandom? That's it? Not exactly. Going through and reading all of the leaked messages, I actually think this is much bigger than just the furry fandom. This is a fandom for abuse. These people talk about abusing children like it's their fandom hyperfixation. They call people who oppose them antis, a term usually reserved for shipping discourse. They talk about finding victims to prey on through shared fandom interests, like anime. They recruit people by portraying themselves as victims. They tell these sob stories about how everyone hates them for their attractions they can't help. They compare their struggle to the gay rights movement, tell people that if they side with them, they're on the right side of history. Everyone who demonizes paraphiles now is just bigoted. They try to make their identities look sympathetic and cute and harmless. They move on to stuff that toes the line, like drawing porn of the 3-year-old toddler dog from Bluey, but it's just fiction, right? They're not harming any actual living, breathing creatures, right? That's what they present on sites like Tumblr, where relatively normal people can see them. But once the door's shut, this is how they talk. These people aren't activists. They are not your friendly fellow queers or just a weird subculture. They're predators. This is not a safe space to heal or just some niche kink website. It's a space that exists to abet abusers. This was made abundantly clear when people actively consuming and distributing CSEM happened to fall under Ezra's community of all who do no harm. I don't think that Caro's dog, Coda, who died at the young age of 6, would think of his owner as a brave activist. I don't think that the now adult victims of the CSEM Ezra's pals consume would think of their experiences as harmless. If you want proof that these attractions are harmful, just look around you. Listen to abuse victims. Tell their stories. Make sure none of this is forgotten.